Welcome to the Foolish Wanderers podcast.
Why must I be surrounded by fools?
Welcome, Wanderer.
Hey Wanderers! Welcome back to the Foolish Wanderers podcast, the podcast about anything and everything. I'm Katrina, and joined by my lovely co-host,
Kendra.
And today, we're actually going to be turning into a true crime podcast, for one day only. We're going to be talking about the cold case, the Somerton Man. Spooky.
Yeah, this case is really eerie and kind of creepy, and again,
Are there
it's a
Are
cold
there any,
case.
trigger warnings, or is this,
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know. Maybe at the end there you'll be like, Kendra, obviously, and then we'll have to go back and make a trigger warning PSA, but
Okay.
I don't think so.
It's pretty tame, then.
It's pretty tame.
Okay.
It's just really intriguing and weird, and it's a mystery, and not a lot of probably a lot of, I don't know. I bet a lot of true crime junkie people know about this case. It's pretty famous, but
I'm sure, yeah. If you're really into true crime, I bet, yeah, you probably heard of it. I
Mhm.
haven't heard of it, though.
I think it's one of the most popular cold cases from Australia.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess maybe not cool, but, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Still fascinating, though.
Okay, so here we go. We're getting into the Somerton Man, or it's also known as the Tamam Shud case. Or is it Shud? I think it was Shud. Darn it. I looked up the pronunciation before we started, and I was like, okay, I got it. Messed it up. Okay. So the Somerton Man case, it happened almost 75 years ago. So it's a 75-year-old unsolved case.
Dang.
And it all starts with a peaceful walk on the beach. So around 7 o'clock in the evening on November 30th in 1948, John Lyons and his wife, I don't know why his wife wasn't named, but it's just John Lyons and his wife were on Somerton Beach, a few miles south of Adelaide in Australia. And fun fact, this is not actually a fun fact. I take it back. Adelaide is known as the murder capital of Australia. So
yeah, that's very opposite of a fun fact. But
yep, I don't. But it's a fact. Gruesome
it's a fact. Yeah, there you go. That's a good term.
Morbid
for it.
fact. Okay.
Yeah, that too.
Anyway, people, they're walking on the beach, husband and wife. Sun is setting.
It's cute.
Pretty. It's picturesque. It's like a movie. And they notice a man dressed in a suit, and he's just lying on the sand. And he has his head propped up against the seawall. And he was about 20 yards from them, and his legs were outstretched and his feet were crossed. And they kept watching him because it's a man in a full suit on the beach. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Yep.
And the guy extends his right arm up, and then he just lets it fall to the sand.
Oh.
So they just thought he was just like a drunk, or he was drunk.
Oh no.
So they were like, and, walk away. By the next morning at 6:30 a.m., when he again, the John Lyons, when he again found the man in the same spot, his feet were crossed, and this time he was dead.
Oh, so he was reaching out for help. Oh.
We don't know.
At that, if you think about it too, honestly, I wouldn't know if I would want to help him or if I'd be freaked out and want to get away as fast either. Fast as
he
possible.
wasn't trying to talk. He was just kind of he looked like he was just drunk and kind of sleepy and like that. So there's no signs of a struggle, and he had a half smoked cigarette, and it was just on his collar, like it had fallen out of his mouth.
Oh, weird.
And on him, he had an unused second-class train ticket from Adelaide to Henley Beach, and a bus ticket from the city that may or may not have been used, a U.S. manufactured aluminum comb, a half packet of juicy fruit gum.
Ooh, delicious.
He didn't have a wallet, no ID.
Okay.
An Army Club cigarette pack, which contained 7 cigarettes with many different brands, and then one of them, a few of the cigarettes were from this really uppity, expensive brand. And he had a box of matches.
So with no ID and no wallet, either it's to me it's either a spy, they didn't want people to know who he was, or it's someone robbed him.
So again, this is in 1948, so keep that spy idea in the back of your head. Okay. So Dr. John Barclay Bennett, who performed the autopsy, put the time of death at 2 a.m. and that the cause of death was heart failure, and he suspected poisoning.
Okay.
So the Somerton Man was was also wearing a striped American tie. So I didn't really get this, but I guess the way that the stripes are running on a tie, it's different in America than it is in Australia.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
So he noticed that. And also all of his labels on his clothes, like his suit, had been removed.
Oh, I don't like that.
And he was clean shaven, which led the police to believe it was a suicide. The coroner noted that he had unusual teeth. His canines had grown in next to his front teeth. So you know how your canines are. You're
Like-
like there's a tooth in between the canine
Your
and the front tooth.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
So his canine was like right next to his front teeth.
Oh, so he's like missing 2 teeth and they just like
No,
filled in.
yeah,
Oh,
it's just like his canine is just in right next to the front tooth, and then the other tooth is after the canine.
oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's weird. So according to pathologist John Burton Cleveland, I almost said Cleveland, but I caught myself.
Very close.
Very close. The mysterious man, the dead guy, was of British appearance, and he thought he was about 40 to 55. No, oh, I'm sorry, 40 to 45 years old,
Okay.
and he was in top physical condition. He was 5'11" with gray eyes, fair to ginger hair, slightly grayed, broad shoulders and a narrow waist, hands and nails that showed no sign of manual labor, big little
Okay.
toes that met in a wedge shape, like those of a dancer or someone who wore boots with pointed toes, and pronounced high calf muscles. So all of these things the guy thought was consistent with people who perform ballet or were a professional dancer.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I was in dance like growing up, and I don't know, it's just weird to put in, but like my little toes had like that triangle shape too, because I was on point like ballet shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So like it deforms your feet, so that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So other findings in the autopsy were that the man's pupils were smaller than normal, his spleen was about 3 times larger than normal, and the liver was dissented with congested blood.
Oh,
And this made poison as a cause of death. It just all points to poison.
yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But when tests on both blood and organs were done, they failed to find any traces of poison. There was just nothing.
Isn't there some that like leave the system very quickly though?
Oh, yes.
Like some poisons. Okay.
We're going to get into that next.
Oh, okay.
Very good,
Sorry.
Katrina. You're paying attention. Good job.
Yay, get an A+.
A+, gold star. So all of this led the coroner.
Yeah,
That's what I want.
coroner.
So all of this led the coroner and Katrina to believe a rare poison had been used, one that decomposed very quickly after death.
Okay. Yeah.
So digitalis and strophanthine.
That sounds more like
So
okay.
digitalis and strophanthine were 2 suspects. So strophanthine is a rare glycoside derived from the seeds of some African plants, and it was used by a small Somali tribe to poison arrows.
Oh, ew.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
why, but like poison darts and like arrows always freak me out.
yeah, I did.
Like it's like a double whammy, right? You're getting
It's
shot
a
by an
double
arrow,
whammy. Uh-huh.
you get poisoned.
And then die from poison.
Mhm.
So the coroner, it's a really weird case, right? The guy they don't have an ID, they
Mhm.
don't know what he does, they don't know who he is, he doesn't have any labels on his clothes, he died
That's-
of poison, but they don't know what the poison is. Like, they're kind of at dead ends. It's all just a mystery.
Mhm.
So things weren't going any better for the police in this investigation. So they did a full set of these guys' fingerprints, and they circulated them around Australia and throughout English-speaking countries. No one could identify them.
So like they gave it to like different police stations, you mean? Or...
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Mhm.
because normal everyday people aren't just gonna be like, ooh, fingerprints. I know who those are, right?
Yeah, no, and they did like pictures too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they didn't know what else to do because nobody was coming to claim this guy, no family
Oh.
members. So they had to embalm the body.
Mm-hmm.
So the body was embalmed on December 10th, and people were brought in to identify the body that were missing other family members around that time.
Okay.
And no one could identify him. So photos were taken and they were published in the newspaper. No one recognized the body still. And by January 11th, the police had no leads and they almost gave up until they came up with a theory. if the guy had tickets, right? His body was found with tickets
Mm-hmm.
and American style clothing. Maybe he was a tourist. And what do tourists come with? Luggage, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he has to have luggage somewhere.
Very
So
true.
on January 12th, the detectives found a brown suitcase at a train station on Adelaide that had been deposited in the cloakroom on November 30th.
Ooh.
The suitcase didn't really have anything out of the ordinary, but there was a reel of orange thread that was identical to the repair that was done on the dead man's trousers.
There you go. That's smart.
Very smart detective work. So, after further investigation, a small pocket was discovered that had been sewed secretly into the waistband of the dead man's trousers.
Oh. Huh.
So inside was a small piece of paper that had the phrase "to mom should," and it is a Persian phrase, and it means it is ended.
Oh, ew, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Oh.
So it had been torn from a page of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. So it's a book of poetry.
Okay.
The book had become popular in Australia and other countries also during World War, and it was for like lovers separated by forces, or you just like give it to your crush.
Oh, okay.
So the detectives now are going to try and find the missing book, right?
Mhm.
So with no leads, the body had to be buried, right?
Oh, yeah. Before it
Nature's
decays
just gonna
and
happen,
stuff.
yeah, before it
Yep.
decays.
Mhm.
So, but before it was buried, they did casts.
Oh, okay.
So, about 8 months after the investigation began, a man walked into the detective's office with a copy of the matching book.
Oh.
So the man had found the book last December when he had gone to his car that he parked a few hundred yards from Somerton Beach. Again, this is the same beach where the Somerton Man was found.
Uh-huh.
He found the book on the floor of his back seat and
Why?
he didn't think anything of it. He thought it belonged to his brother-in-law and he just placed it in the glove box and forgot about it.
I don't know why, but, like, finding something, like, I don't know, finding something in my backseat that wasn't there a little bit ago, that would freak me out.
Yeah, he just was like, and forgot about it.
Oh, cool, it's a free poem book. Okay, sick.
With the page, there's like there's a piece missing off of the back page. What the heck? Weird. So the detectives took the book, and the final page where the words "to mom should be," it was torn out,
Mhm.
and scribbled on the back cover of the book was a code and a phone number.
I don't like this.
This is good. I mean, this is good.
I
You
mean,
can't
it
write
is.
this.
I know, like, this is a very interesting, but it's just, like, I don't like the idea of someone, like, I don't know. I guess so, like, right now, I'm at where, like, he poisoned himself, right? Because he had the little slip of
Mhm.
paper in his pocket, and he's like,
And it said it
"It's
is
done."
ended. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's like, I don't
creepy.
know. I don't like it.
Mhm.
It makes sense, though.
So the police obviously called the phone number, right? And
Mhm.
the number led them to a young nurse named. So she doesn't want her real name used at first
Okay,
until like years later. So
fair
she
enough.
just lets them use the name, like nickname of Justine,
Okay.
and she lived on Somerton Beach.
Okay.
She was she was living with her fiance and admitted she gave a copy of the Rubaiyat to a man she knew during the war named Alfred Boxall. Case solved, right?
Mm,
I mean,
I mean, if he's real, yes.
yeah. So the only issue is Alfred Boxall was alive and
Oh,
living in New South Wales.
well,
And
there
he
you go.
also had his copy of the book with the inscription the nurse wrote to him. So the Somerton
What?
Man scrap had to come from a different book, right? But
Uh-huh.
things get even stranger.
Okay.
I don't know how they could, right?
It's getting weird.
It's
Okay.
getting really weird. So the detectives questioned Justine further, and she recalled that sometime in the previous year, she came home and was notified by neighbors that an unknown man had called and asked for her. And when the
Really?
detectives brought Justine to look at the cast of the Somerton Man's face, Justine seemed completely taken aback to the point of giving the appearance she was about to faint.
Oh.
So she seemed to recognize the guy, yet she denied that she didn't even know him. She
Okay.
refused to answer any more questions. She was just like, nope, nope, nope.
That's to me, that's evidence that she knew exactly who it was, just didn't realize he was dead,
Mm-hmm.
and then was, like, sworn to secrecy to keep it a secret.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my brain's at.
Mm-hmm. So, without any evidence of any motive, with no more leads, and no one else in the frame, the Somerton man's death was declared a suicide and the investigation went cold.
Dang it, Justine. She could have solved it. But
I
unless it's
know.
dangerous to solve it, then, I mean,
Mm.
fair enough to keep it, I guess. But,
hmm
okay.
Again, but we forgot about something, right? In the book, there was two things written down:
Oh,
Justine's
yeah.
number and a code.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right? So what about the code? Well, it's been looked at by specialists, and breaking a code from only a small part of texts and without a key is extremely difficult.
Hmm.
So it didn't have the complete thing in the book. They couldn't figure it, just a small section. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
practically impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that there's many conspiracy theories on who this Somerton man actually is. A lot of people thinks he's a spy. He was a scorned lover, and a weird one is a black market trader during World War II.
I mean, I guess I could see it if he like
Mm-hmm.
was gonna get caught and then he killed himself. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Makes sense. And most professional and amateurs, crime solvers have given up with investigating the case, but not Derek Abbott. So Derek Abbott, he's a professor of electrical engineering at the University of Adelaide. And
Okay.
years before he started investigating the Somerton Man case, Derek had been an expert forensic witness in the infamous Snowtown murders trial. And
I've not heard about that one either.
I haven't heard about that one either, but I guess it's infamous.
Okay.
So he was thrilled by the experience, and he turned his analytical problem-solving skills to the Somerton Man case. And
Okay.
he starts looking into this in 1995.
Oh wow, so that's quite a bit later.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So Derek set the Rubaiyat code as a task for his electrical engineering PhD students. They tried, and after 6 years of trying, they came to the conclusion that it's simply just the first few letters of words, like a memory aid for a shopping list. So G for grapes, W for watermelon,
Oh, okay.
and so
Yeah.
on and so forth.
Like an acronym.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if any of that's true, but
Yeah, it's a theory.
it's a good theory.
Mhm.
So Derek then turned to the nurse. Who is she? He found out that her real name was Jo Thompson instead of Justine.
Okay.
And she had moved around a lot, and by the time Derek discovered her, she had passed away.
No, I was worried about that. Dang it.
So remember, she's the one that went to
She
look at the
died with
body, and
it.
she was like, "Oh my god!" She freaked out, but was like, "Oh, I don't know him. I don't know this man." But she had a son named Robin.
Okay.
Remember? Robin was born in 1947, the year before the Somerton man died.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, Jo was unmarried, but she was like going to get married or something. She had
Okay.
a fiance, or she was living with a man. Anyway, this case is going to get even weirder.
How? Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Because her son, Robin, grew up to be a professional ballet dancer. Maybe it ran in his genes.
I mean, it could be.
But sadly, Robin also had passed away.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
He wasn't that old then. Oh.
Mm-mm. But Derek found photos of Robin then, and he noticed some physical traits that he shared with the Somerton man. Same dental formation. The canines were grown next to the front teeth.
Mhm.
And the Somerton man and Robin had the same ears. So I had to look all into this ear thing, okay?
Okay.
So in normal ears, the top, I'm gonna call it the top part, but it's called the
Mhm.
Simba.
Okay.
It's CYMBA.
Okay. Yeah.
It's supposed to be smaller than the bottom or the cavum. But on the Somerton man and Robin, the Simba is larger than the cavum.
Wait, are we talking about the outside of the ear or the inside of the ear?
It's so it's like the outside of the ear.
Okay. I'm gonna need a diagram. Hold on.
Yeah. Look up a diagram. And so it's a rare condition that is in 1% of the population. So they have to be related. There's no way.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. So I mean, that
Duh.
makes sense.
So Derek looked at the evidence and came to the belief, that Robin is the Somerton man's son.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, we need like that music. He then tried to find out if Robin had any children, which led him to Robin's daughter named Rachel.
Okay.
So Rachel was adopted and was never told that she was adopted.
Oh.
But she said that she always sort of knew.
Oh, okay.
She also said she always had a passion for ballet, dance, and theater, and it was weird to her because it was a very drastic taste from her adopted family.
Isn't
Like
that weird how like our tastes can sometimes like be like I don't know like
ingrained in us.
yeah, it's weird.
It is very
Yeah.
weird. So, when Rachel was in her 20s, she decided to try and find her birth mother, and she found her, and her name is Roma.
Oh,
And
okay.
Roma taught ballet.
Oh, so they all did like some sort of ballet.
Mhm.
Like, wow, that's cool.
And Rachel found out that ballet had brought her parents together. She
Oh,
ended up moving in with Roma and teaching dance.
oh.
When Rachel met Derek just wanted to ask her a few questions about the case, and they hit it off, and they eventually got married.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh. And
That's
now
good.
they
Okay.
and now they have 3 children, and they all do ballet.
Dang. Well, I mean, with like a family history like that, like, yeah.
So, people, Derek is still working on the case.
Oh,
So far, he's proven Rachel is Robin's daughter,
okay.
and now he's campaigning to exhume the Somerton Man to compare his DNA to Rachel's.
I don't know why, but that kind of weirds me out too. Just like exhume them just to, I don't know.
Yeah, it wears a lot of people out,
Yeah.
but it's going to take it would take a lot of time. But he thought that there might be a workaround. Derek found 3 hairs on the cast that they did
Oh, okay.
of the
Hmm.
Somerton Man's body,
Okay.
and they were able to take the roots of the hair and extract DNA from it.
Okay.
He
Cool.
gave them to a lab at the University of Adelaide in 2017. The lab they successfully extracted a DNA sample from the hair, and they sent it out to do sequencing. And in February of 2018, the team obtained a high definition analysis from the hair of the Somerton Man, and they found that he and his mother belonged to a haplogroup, which is possessed by only 1% of the Europeans. I mean, we all knew this, but it didn't tell them what they wanted to know, which is the Somerton Man related to Rachel?
What show is that where it's like, you're not the father? Is that Springer?
Mari.
Mari.
I think it's Jerry Springer and
Jerry Springer.
Mari. I don't know, but
You are the grandfather.
you are the grandfather. So they weren't able to get anything from it.
Oh.
And I know it's sad, but so they said that embalming chemicals are designed to preserve remains, but they do that by breaking down the protein inside the body, so that
Yeah.
there's nothing available for bacteria to consume, and it does have a very detrimental effect in degrading the DNA. So nothing besides saying that he's a very odd man, and only 1% of the Europeans are like this. We already knew that because of his teeth and his weird ears.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
What else? So I looked up what's happening now about because the Somerton Man case is still going on.
Mhm.
So I did say that in May of 2020 the body was exhumed.
Oh, okay.
And they're trying to get something out of it, but
'Cause, like, wouldn't
nothing
most
is
of it be destroyed already by the embalming fluids and stuff?
probably, but I really hope not.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that they can get some sort of DNA from it.
I guess we'll see. Only time will tell.
Mhm.
So here's the main theory that people think.
Okay.
So they think that the Somerton Man was a spy.
Yep,
So
that's
it's
what I
not.
thought.
It's pretty. It was pretty common at that time, given that there was a world war. Duh.
Yeah.
And the agents always ripped the tags off of their clothing
Oh,
the
okay.
same way the Somerton Man did, and that was a strategy taken to make it as difficult as possible to trace its origin. So, according to a tailor that was hired to analyze the evidence, the Somerton Man's coat was made in the United States.
Okay.
And again, he had strong British features, and he wore very formal clothing for the environment in which he was found, because it's kind of weird to wear a full suit on the beach.
Unless you're getting married or proposing or something, or like on a fancy date.
And this may show that the man was probably not local and had traveled a lot in his life. So the place he was lying, it was a public place, not the kind of a place a man would choose if he wanted to go die somewhere quietly.
That is weird,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, he wanted to be found.
Mm-hmm. In
Okay.
addition, the writing on his pocket indicated terminated,
Oh, I don't like that
pointing a
word.
good chance pointing a good chance the man had either committed suicide or had been eliminated for some reason, perhaps because they discovered he was a spy.
See, that's kind of like my thought is like, what if, so like he either completed his mission, and isn't there some like spies like right after their mission was complete, they had to kill themselves, just like nothing.
Cyanide, like, in like
Yeah.
spy movies where you like break a tooth off and there's a capsule inside and
Ugh. Yeah, just like so like nothing would get out or whatever, like your secret information wouldn't get released or whatever.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, so spy to me makes perfect sense, right? Like he might have like had like a fling with that what was her name?
Joe, I think it was, wait.
With Joe, and then like after that he completed his mission, and then either someone was coming after him, and so he had to like die in a public spot to like be like, oh, I didn't betray, I don't know, or somebody would find him, or like he'd like prove that he wasn't betraying somebody or whatever.
I don't know. My theory is like I wonder. I think that the Joe lady was a spy as well.
That would make sense, right?
And they met each other during the war, and then they like fell in love, and then he fathered Robin, but then he had to go away or something of that nature, and had to do spy work like James Bond or something. And maybe he saw like the writing on the wall that he was in like too deep over his head or something, and tried to find her again because he knew it was going to end soon. He was going to get targeted and taken out, so he traveled all the way there, and then he tried to make it to her to see his son, like, and then he was taken out.
That's so sad because if he didn't see his son, like he got so close.
Or maybe he did see them, and then he saw
Maybe.
that she had fallen in love with another man, and then he decided just to. There's no other
That's
point.
true, because you said that he was born like the year before the Somerton Man was found, right?
Yep. So
Yeah,
Somerton
he was
Man's
already
found in
alive.
48, and Robin was born in 47.
So it could have been like he was like away on a mission, came back to like say goodbye or something, and then so that makes it even sadder now.
I know. I don't know.
Aw.
There's a lot of different theories. If any of the listeners have any theories of their own, please send them in. I want to hear them.
Yes, please. I think this is fascinating. I think I heard about like a man just being like on the shore like with no tags and stuff, but I didn't know all this backstory.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
the backstory is really weird.
It's really weird.
So some cool like little other sources if you want to look into this case or read about it again. So the nib.com, they have this really cool illustrated comic strip of the whole story, even the stuff with Derek and his
That's cool.
investigation on his own stuff. So for anyone that wants to go off the deep end into the Somerton Man case, there is the Tamam Shud blogs. So it's the tamamshud.blogspot.com. So you can do a deep dive into the whole case. People, I mean, it gets pretty, conspiracy theory or us. Yeah, that's all I can say about that one. Other stuff. The Unknown Man, A Suspicious Death at the Somerton Beach by Gerald Michael Feltus. That's a book that was published in 2010. Tamam Shud, The Somerton Man Mystery by Carrie Greenwood. That book was published in 2012. So both stuff. Good stuff.
Good stuff. Good job, Kendra. This is really interesting. I appreciate the deep dive into all the little things. And like...
Oh, I loved it. I really had fun.
Oh, good.
I felt like the meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Charlie goes like crazy and like smoking cigarettes and trying to he's like trying to solve this fake mystery that he came up with. So he has like these strings all over the wall with these fake people. He's like, I love doing the deep dive. It's really interesting. I mean,
Cool.
I got into this guy's ears, how his ears were.
I know. Oh, I googled, so I looked up the diagram. So the Simba, it's the little piece, so it's like
the top part.
It's like the part, the little flappy part, like before.
Yeah, the top part, right?
Not
That's how I thought about it, right?
It's not like the top part. It's not like the top part of your ear.
It's like the little cave in there, right?
This is so hard to explain over words.
I know.
So like it's the little nub, like
the nub.
The nub.
The cave is better than the nub. So
whatever you call it.
So you know where the nub is on the ear, right?
And not the lobe.
It's not the low cave where like the hole to the actual ear is, because that's the other one. That's the bottom part, and then the thing with the nub is the top part.
Yeah.
See, I said
Okay.
top and bottom. Like, that makes sense, right?
See, what I was thinking when you're saying like the outer part of the ear, the top and the bottom, that's the like the ear that you can touch like with your ear, like wiggle your like the crest of your ear and like the lobe of your ear. That to me is like the
Oh my
outer
god,
ear.
are we gonna have to like post a freaking diagram of an ear on the Instagram page so people know what the heck?
Yes, I will. Unless you want to
I
Google.
thought that the top part and the bottom part was sufficient, but I guess it's not.
It's actually kind of hard to find a diagram that labels these parts. Apparently, it's not like
That's
often
how
called that.
deep dive I went.
I know.
I
Good
got
job.
I got a freaking degree in human anatomy.
Oh, impressive. So quickly, too. It was
Mhm.
like in 2 weeks.
Yep,
Oh,
University
wow.
of Phoenix.
That'd be a great plug.
I went nuts. I went like, what's the new Facebook's name? Meta?
Yeah, I think so.
It's so lame. It's so lame.
Wait, so so I haven't logged into Facebook for a while. So is it like Facebook or is it a different platform than Facebook?
I think it's going to eventually be Facebook. I really
Oh, they're just
do.
changing the name.
Yeah, they're just changing
Okay.
the name because they have to rebrand because they've just been, pooped on so much.
Yeah.
Rightly so, but it's like Victoria's Secret, how they're rebranding like right now. They got rid of the angels, they got rid of like,
I didn't
sexy,
know that.
scantily clad women, and they're
See, I didn't
trying
hear anything about that. I just saw their
it's the
stores
It's
closing.
because the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, because Jeffrey Epstein handled the main guy's money for Victoria's Secret. So
Oh.
yeah, having anything sexy involved with Jeffrey Epstein is not good.
No.
So it is tainted. It is tainted blood.
Oh boy. All right, so do we want to do a fun fact?
Yeah, since we talked about a sad dead man,
Death.
a tragic Romeo and Juliet spy story.
Yeah. All right, it's time for fun fact of the day with Katrina instead of
Oh,
Kendra.
I'm gonna change the jingle.
We have not used that jingle in forever.
I know.
So, which fun fact do you want? One, you can pick 1 through 5.
I'll pick 5 because that's my favorite number.
5. Okay.
5. Always pick 5.
Okay. All right. Did you know that some of the first examples of graffiti come from first century Pompeii, where messages like "I don't want to sell my husband" and "Success was here" were written on the walls?
I did know that.
Isn't that cool?
Uh-huh.
It's interesting. Like all throughout history, basically, people have been writing stuff like wherever, like leaving love notes and like little success stories and stuff on walls. And
You
it's kind
know
of cool.
why I knew that?
Why? Reddit?
Because it's in Assassin's Creed.
Is it really? That's
It's
cool.
not, they didn't do anything for during Pompeii, but they did,
Uh-huh.
what was it called? Or is it Origins?
Okay.
So they have like this little like creepy town that has like a brothel and it has like murals all over the place. And sometimes they
Okay.
have like fun fact. And I just kind of went into like, again, like a deep dive. And then I got into, I was like, oh, I think Pompeii has like the same sort of mural stuff. And then I found it out that
Oh.
way. But
Oh,
I
that's
learned
cool.
Assassin's Creed, I learned a lot of stuff through that.
That's actually, I've always thought those games were really impressive. Just how like exact they try to get them to like what things used to look like.
Oh
They're pretty
yeah.
amazing.
Another fun fact. So when Notre Dame Cathedral, when it burned and
Yep.
that part of the ceiling collapsed, and I think it was a stave or whatever collapsed.
The steeple.
Yeah,
maybe?
steeple that.
Mhm.
And that collapsed. Since Assassin's Creed had done a French Revolution theme, they
Mhm.
did an exact scale model
That's so
of
cool.
the Notre Dame Cathedral. So they are working with the people that are restoring Notre Dame Cathedral to make it exact. So they're using their model that you use in the game that you're like parkouring up. They're using that to try and restore
That's
it.
so cool. I
Mhm.
saw like articles about that when they first started talking about rebuilding it and stuff. And I was just like, that's really cool.
Mhm.
You help save
Assassin's Creed saves churches.
they save a piece of history.
They
Yeah.
save a piece of history.
That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to another Foolish Wonders podcast. If you'd like to send us an email, tell us your theories about the Somerton Man, if you think it was a Romeo and Juliet kind of story, or if you think he just was a spy that randomly ended up on a beach, or if he was just like a man that got drunk and I don't know. Please let us know your theories at fwplisteners@gmail.com and check out our companion images to all of our episodes at Foolish Wanderers Podcast on Instagram.
And new episodes are out every single Wednesday wherever you get your podcasts. If you're a first-time listener, please
Thank
like,
you.
subscribe. Thank you. And you can help us by leaving like a positive comment, 5-star review, all that jazz.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for listening. We see you guys next time.
Did you see on the news, like, one of the headlines today was some person on meth burned down the I don't know if it was the oldest cypress tree in the world or if it was the
No.
oldest cypress tree in North America, but it was it 3,200 years old or 2,300 years old? Sorry, I mix up numbers, but it was one of the 2, and they burned it down, and they were on meth.
Why?
I I I mean, I don't begin to try and understand the mind of a meth user.
How big was this tree?
It was pretty big, let me look it up. Cypress
Was it big
trees,
as,
and
like, the
it was in
redwoods?
Florida.
Okay. Are they as big and round as the redwoods, or are they
I
smaller?
mean, it was pretty old. Oh, this is from a while ago.
Oh.
What was I
Okay.
on? I was on Reddit.
The
I'll
worst
be
drug.
honest. Yeah, the worst drug is Reddit.
Oh, this is from before 2020.
Yeah, this is from 2019, but still, meth is still the message is still the same. Meth is bad.
Yeah. The tree was 2,624 years old as of 2018. There's another tree as old as 2,088 years old. So it has about 600 years, but
Don't be doing meth by old
don't burn
trees.
down trees.
And don't do meth. That's the more important lesson is don't do meth.
Oh, some of the pictures are so sad. It's just like it's burning, like hollowed out trunk with
Mhm.
smoke coming out of it.
I know, it's old.
That's really sad. How did he just like light a match and
It
flick
was
it
a
in there?
lady.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a lady. I don't know. I've never smoked meth. I don't really know what happened.
Fair enough. That poor tree, it's seen so much.
Now it won't ever again.
There's some trees, I don't remember what species, but there's some trees that are there's like one tree and then like they grow root structures underground and like they sprout up other trees that are still connected. So it's like the main tree and then its roots spread out and sprout other trees that are still connected to the main tree. So it's like a hive mind.
Weird. It's a hive mind.
Yeah,
Gross.
it's weird. It's kind of cool, but
Do you remember
weird.
what tree that was?
I can see if I can find it. You want to know what I googled to see if I can find this answer?
Yeah, what did you Google?
What trees sprout children from its roots to be a hive mind? I don't know what else to call it.
I don't yeah, sometimes when you're Googling something, just be like
Like,
blue just you try and describe it the best you can if you don't remember the
mhm,
word for it.
yeah.
And sometimes the searches are really funny.
Oh, aspens. What are those?
Aspens do it? They're so pretty though. I didn't
That
wanna
doesn't mean they're
think
any less pretty.
I mean, like, the hive mind thing, like, creeps me out.
Oh, true. Okay. Aspen trees reproduce both by seeds and by root sprouts, though sprouting is most common and successful form of reproduction. Aspen produces small flowers on catkins that are 1 to 2 inches long. These flowers are produced in the early spring before the leaves grow on the trees.
That's creepy, which is called root sprouts.
That's not what I was thinking of, though. Oh, here we go. Okay. So, aspen is noted for its ability to regenerate vegetatively by shoots and suckers arising along its long lateral roots. Root sprouting results in many genetically identical trees, so like clones.
Ah.
All the trees in a clone have identical characteristics and share a root structure. The members of a clone can be distinguished from those of a neighboring clone, often by variety of traits such as leaf shape and size, bark character, branching habit, resistance to disease and air pollen, time of flushing, and autumn leaf color. A clone can turn color earlier or later in the fall, or exhibit a different fall color variation than its neighboring clones, thus providing a means to tell them apart. Says that aspen clones can be less than an acre and up to 100 acres in size, so tiny or huge. There can be one clone in an aspen grove, or there can be many. So they reproduce through the roots
And they're
sometimes.
clones.
Yeah, they have clones.
Great.
Isn't that interesting?
It's interesting. I just don't want any, like, humans to get any ideas.
I mean, honestly though, I feel like we're not that far away from having a clone child, like a cloned human.
Well, I think that what they can don't you see in the news all the time? Not the Reddit news, but just like the news
Okay.
where like scientists they're able to like take DNA from like a mammoth, like a woolly mammoth that they
Mhm.
found in like some ice or
And
what was
clone
the
it?
other yeah, and clone it. Like They want to, but they need, like, money and funding, and it'll take a few years, they
Oh,
say, but they were yeah.
yeah. It exists. Like, there's a lot of different I think there a saber-toothed tiger? Maybe that might have been another one.
It was like a Siberian cave bear, and
Okay.
they found a baby in,
Oh.
like, the permafrost, whatever, not it probably not the permafrost layer, but,
Mhm.
frozen,
Yeah.
and it had the
It's
teeth, and it
preserved.
had its yeah, it was preserved, it was really creepy, and they're, probably able to take DNA from that thing too.
Yeah.
I don't know, I mean,
As long as you don't create a Jurassic Park
that's
situation.
just always I'm like, "Are you people this stupid?" There literally was a movie and a book about this, like,
Yeah,
don't
there's
do it.
multiple movies.
Don't do it. There's a whole franchise about not that no, you shouldn't do it. Don't do it.
Yep. Well, it's not a mosquito, it's gonna be fine.
Why can't they do something good and get rid of mosquitoes?
What is the point of wasps and mosquitoes?
I don't know I think the point of mosquitoes, the only one I can think of the top of my
Food.
head is food for bats.
Yeah, that's
But
my
I'm like,
immediate answer, yeah.
make something else their food. I don't know. Create a line of bat food.
I'm sure that I think they eat other bugs, like, I'm sure they can eat,
Oh,
like,
I'm sure they
mayflies and
do.
stuff.
I know, but, like, get rid of
Yeah.
mosquitoes. They're awful.
Mhm. Like wasps. Did you know that figs are, like, made like, the fruit of figs is often made from wasps dying inside of it?
What the what?
Here, let me Google.
Why do you even know this?
That is a good
So,
question.
like, a fig Newton might have, like, a dead wasp curled up inside or what?
Yes. Technically, yes. Here, let me Google.
Ew, does this happen to any other food?
I don't you mean, like, where bugs go inside of it, and that's what makes a fruit?
And then curl up and die, yeah.
Good question. I don't know. The figs is the only one that I know. Okay, so this is according to treehugger.com. So
Tree hunter?
tree hugger,
Okay.
yes. So it says, first of all, figs aren't technically a fruit. They're actually an introverted flower or inverted flower.
Okay.
So the fig blooms inside his pod, and then so basically, like okay, so basically the wasps are needed to fertilize like the flower of the fig.
Mhm.
And then so it says female wasps know they need to get inside of a fig to lay their eggs. So they crawl inside both male and female figs to try to do that. The female wasp burrows inside the fig through a narrow opening, and then if she arrives in a male fig, she is able to lay her eggs in an ideal environment and then dies. Her eggs hatch, with males hatching first and then the females.
And then
Um,
so she's dead in there, so she had, like, some babies, the babies crawl out of the figs or they die in there too?
yeah, they call it the figs.
That's
Hold on.
disgusting.
Okay, so a female wasp crawls into a female fig, however, she cannot lay her eggs and dies of starvation. So if it's a male fig, she can get out. If it's a female fig, she can't, so she dies in there. And then after like her dying in there, it like pollinates the fruit or the flower, and then the fig quickly ripens, and then we eat it.
Yeah, fig paste, and then that's put into a fig Newton.
Yep.
And then the fig Newton is named after a town in Massachusetts.
Really? I didn't know
Mhm.
that one. I knew wasps help make figs, but I didn't know
You knew that obscure detail, but you didn't know the fig Newton story, that it's not named after Isaac Newton, it's named after a town in Massachusetts.
Mhm. Interesting.
Not as interesting as wasps dying in a fig, and then we could possibly eat it.
Figs are interesting. I like fig Newtons though. They're
I
good.
hate them. It's just so I don't like them. When I was Googling, like, fig Newton thing, fig Newtons,
Mhm.
one of the top answers or questions on Google was, "Why are fig Newtons so bad?" So, pretty sure that a lot of people do not like them.
I feel like when were they invented?
In, like, the 1800s. Yeah, 1891, so
I
I'm
mean,
right.
tastes were different. I still think they taste kind of good.
I don't like it.
That's fine. You're able to have your own opinions.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, it's not like my favorite food, but like I won't say I don't like it. I don't know. I'll eat them.
Oh, January 16th is National Fig Newton Day, so write that on your
Hey,
calendars.
there you go. We need to wait. Are there recipes you could make with fig Newtons?
There probably are, but you can do that on your own time.
I will.